WhatACrocSteph. Now today I decided I'm going to do something a little special. Now, I don't know, maybe it's me, but me and my kids actually watched The Little Mermaid live the other day, and it got me thinking, like, I like to do like a surf and turf, but everything in the crock. So today I'm going to show you how I make my kind of like twisted version of a surf and turf, and everything's going to be done in the crock. So we are going to make, actually the part of the surf and turf is we're going to make steak in the crock pot first, and we're going to shred that up, and then we're going to put in our lobster raviolis, some lobster ravioli, which is going to be so good. And I'm going to top that off, guys. Now you can top it off with any sauce that you like, but I'm actually going to top it off with some Alfredo sauce. Okay, so because I just think it sounds good. I've used vodka sauce in the past, where I've used a vodka sauce, or I've done like a pesto sauce and stuff like that. Anything really goes well. I mean, it's steak and seafood, right? So you can't go wrong any way you do it. Sometimes people just do a nice little butter garlic, sauce, or a little bit of gravy or juice or whatever to it. It's add some lemon, so on and so forth. So, but today I'm going to make actually my WhatACroc version of surf and turf with shredded beef and lobster raviolis. So let's get started. I'm just going to start with first, like I said, we're going to do the steaks first in the crock pot. And then we're going to set it and forget it. And then we're going to come back later, and I'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to do as far as incorporating the raviolis in there. And everything cooks in the same pot, right in your crock. And you're golden, and you have dinner, a nice surf and turf dinner. Your friends will think that you were like a professional chef and you made it. Like, they would never know you made it at home. They thought you ordered delivery or from a fancy restaurant. So trust me, guys, this is going to be so good. So we're going to spray our crock pot, as always, right? A little bit of vegetable cooking spray. And now here, guys, I have literally, this is 4 really big sirloin steaks, but just sliced thinned out. Which my husband did for me, which was great. So I'm just going to layer those in the bottom of the crock, right? And guys, this is so easy. And like, it's funny because I know I mentioned that, my kids and I will watch The Little Mermaid. My girls are like obsessed with that movie. They pretty much know it by heart. And it's funny because, she's a mermaid from under the sea, and she goes to land to be with the prince. I hope my girls never do that. It's the biggest fear as a mom, or my husband, forget it. If he found out my girls even were interested in a boy, he'd be like King Titan or whatever his name is, right? Yeah. So we love the movie. It's a very good movie, obviously. But anyway, back to cooking, because I'd rather talk about that than my kids and my girls, especially, ever dating. So, but if they go on a date, I hope they get a surf and turf. They better order the steak and the lobster and everything good, right? Just saying. So anyway, so I put my steaks in the bottom of the crock, and now we're just gonna season it up, right? A little bit of seasoning. So I'm gonna put like a teaspoon of salt. I don't really measure it out. I always eyeball it, right? So I'm gonna put about a teaspoon of salt in there. Whoop. Over the shoulder, right? A little bit of garlic powder. About another teaspoon of garlic powder, right? To get that flavor in there. And now, guys, I like to add some paprika. So I'm only going to do about, like, maybe a half a teaspoon. Just a little light sprinkle on top, right? About half a teaspoon. I don't know. Like I said, I don't measure it. No big deal, right? And then I'm going to do some pepper. About a half a teaspoon of pepper, because you really don't want it to be too peppery, right? Because guess what? My last seasoning or spice that I'm going to add to it, and this, when I tell you guys, it really brings out the flavor of the steak to match with that lobster ravioli later. So we're going to go ahead and add in some chili powder, right? Guys, you're going to think that you have like a big sirloin steak in front of you when you eat this later, even though it's going to be shredded up with those raviolis in that sauce. It is just going to make it all that much better, right? So I'm just going to add about a 1/4 teaspoon. That's it, right? Guys, we're done with that part, right? Now here, I just have 1 cup for now. For now, just to cook the beef down, we're going to use 1 cup of beef broth. Just regular beef broth, right? I use a low sodium, whatever, right? Anyone you want, but beef broth. We're just gonna pour that over, like so. Because the beef part is done. Your steaks are gonna be done. So we're just going to set this and forget this on low, because that's what makes it so yummy and fall apart so we can shred it later. So we're gonna put this and set this on low for 4 hours. Now I'm only doing 4 hours because, like I said, I cut them thin, so I have a thinner slice of meat that I'm putting in. But if you put in thick steaks, like 4 big steaks, sirloins, whatever, any kind of steak that you use, depending on that, you might have to put it in on low for 5 hours. But I'm only gonna do low for 4 hours. And guys, I'll see you back here in about 4 hours, and then we're gonna add our raviolis in there and our sauce. And guess what, guys? We're gonna have dinner later, and it's only gonna take about 2 hours for the raviolis to cook in there with that beef. And we're gonna have the best surf and turf. WhatACroc surf and turf, Little Mermaid style, I guess you could say, or my twist and my version of it, restaurant style when it comes out. So yummy, so good. I'll see you back here in about 4 hours. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and shred that beef right in the crock. Take your beef out of the crock and set it aside. Add your frozen raviolis, your sauce, and about 1/2 cup of that beef broth, and set it and forget it for about 2 hours. Take your raviolis out and plate them. Mix your beef back in the crock and that sauce and put it over your raviolis. Hi guys, I am back and our WhatACroc twisted, kind of twisted, surf and turf is done. We have here the shredded steak that we made, right? So shredded steak, there's the turf part, right? And then we have our lobster ravioli, which is also our surf part, right? So here goes nothing, guys. I'm going to show it out. Look at that, all that meat. And we did it in an Alfredo sauce. And again, you could do it in any sauce you like. Any kind of sauce. You can make your own sauce, whatever. But this was an idea that I actually created and came up with about a couple days ago, actually. And figured I'd try it out. And look at this. This looks pretty cool. And again, it was inspired by, technically, The Little Mermaid. Watching it with my kids. So here goes nothing. I'm gonna cut right into that ravioli there, and you're gonna see the steak right on top. That's sauce, and that's lobster right in there, right inside there. Let me go ahead and show you that. If you get a close up, ready? Guys, the WhatACroc twisted surf and turf dinner made, everything in the crock, everything. It tastes like I'm eating actual steak and lobster. It's so good, and like a creamy sauce, because we did the Alfredo sauce. But guys, when I tell you, look at that. Look at that. You get all that meat, that lobster in there. You can't go wrong. Guys, they really should. I'm just saying, maybe pass it along if you can, but something like this should be on like every menu at every restaurant. Maybe even like an Olive Garden, because I know they always like these weird twists on stuff. So maybe pass my video along, and maybe I'll get picked up somehow. This was created 2 days ago, guys, and when I tell you, just as I imagined it in my head when I was writing out the recipe on how I was going to do this twisted surf and turf meal, it expands the possibilities, because this was, in my opinion, one of my best ideas ever to create this surf and turf, easy and simple, yummy, delicious surf and turf WhatACroc. Enjoy. Let's have a bite. Serve this to my husband. Excuse me. And you have a wonderful, wonderful evening.